Kuzma's tattoo turned out exactly like we thought it would. It's busted. His face looks like it's melting down his neck. It's not fixable. That portrait will never look right.
Today, you must create a portrait tattoo. Remember, we're testing precision. If your tattoo doesn't look like the picture, you'll be packing. You have 6 hours to tattoo, and your time starts now.
Let's do this, man.
I'm not gonna lie, dude, I was looking at like your art and it was kind of making me a little nervous because it's a portrait and I didn't really see any of those from you. So I was like, oh my God. I'm putting a lot of faith in you. That woman's a saint in my eyes. She always will be.
You know, you gotta have confidence in your artist because that negative projection sometimes works against you. My canvas is putting an immense amount of pressure on me.
Her face looks a little bit fatter.
We squish it down so it looks fatter. When we put it on your leg and it curves around your leg, it's gonna look skinnier. You see how it skinnies out? I'm convinced that the curve of the canvas is going to elongate the portrait. By squishing it down a little bit, it's going to compensate for that. I need you behind me on this, man.
Trust me, I need to be behind you on this.
Good. Everybody's wondering if I can pull this portrait off. It's pretty intimidating.
This is the worst picture to work from.
Because of the contrast and the grain.
The blur, yeah, the graininess. Look at it.
The photo, blurry as hell, but I got enough of the gist to actually follow the blur to make it sharp. And it's because I am a portrait artist.
I have to find the clean parts of that in my head.
You have to be able to pull off bad pictures sometimes. Pulling that off will be a guaranteed win.
I start coloring in the hair, and I'm realizing that squishing the photo was a bad idea. How you feeling about it?
As long as she don't look like she just got out of Taco Bell, I'm golden.
I gave this guy a fat grandma. That's the one fear that my canvas had.
We still talk about her like she's in the next room. That's how much she meant to the family.
I'm trying to project confidence in this scenario, even though I'm super freaking out on the inside. To make her look a little thinner, I kick a little more shadow on the jawbone, and I also bring the hair in a little bit on the right side. But even after all that, it still looks chubby.
You're like, I'm covering the face. I don't want anyone to see it. Jesse squeezed the image. I'm not sure where that was a good idea.
I'm looking around at all the tattoos, and I'm realizing that mine's the worst. When it comes to elimination, whoever I'm in the bottom with, I'm hoping the judges will see more potential in me moving forward than them.
Mr. Jesse Smith. How you feeling about this?
I feel like I dropped the ball.
We're judging precision. I gotta say, I don't feel like any of the details in this tattoo are precise.
The hair could be a little more realistic. Hair is a tough thing to do. It's one of the hardest things in a portrait. It could have been more detailed. It looks a little too just not real enough.
You look at this photo, you see strands. The way you tattooed this hair is more like a weird fur/tribal pattern. Not to mention just the entire perimeter of the face does not look the same. You totally it up.
I mean, I don't have too many legs to stand on here. My portrait obviously sucks. And if we're looking for precision and detail, this is Sebastian's strong suit. So if there's one thing he shouldn't drop the ball on, it should be this. If I dropped the ball in new school when I was in the bottom two in new school, I would have sent myself home.
Would like to say Jesse's a dickhead for throwing me under the bus. They didn't execute precision. Jesse made his face fatter. That's up precision, trying to make a face fat.
What's that, Sebastian?
Talking about executing precision, like he made a face fatter. You don't ever change the actual face, literally change it.
I'm seeing a new side of you today.
To hear him throw me under the bus like that is not a happy moment for me. Make a case for yourself. Don't make a case off of me.
But that's what you do, man. You should have nailed it. That's all I gotta say.
The judges have decided. Jesse, you do not have what it takes to be Ink Master.
Get the out of here.
To do a portrait, your accuracy has to be 100% on point. One little difference in any part of a face and your portrait looks completely off. There's no way around it.
Even if the tattoo is perfect,
Perfection, yeah.
they're gonna be like, why did you cut this piece out or not that, you feel me?
Yeah.
I'm stunned.
I kind of figured.
And you're ready to just tackle this thing.
Yeah.
Jimmy's doing a tattoo of one of his judges. That's gotta be pretty intimidating.
There are a lot of moles back here.
I know. My question is, if it's not the back, what do you suggest?
You got things on your legs at all?
No.
I would probably suggest legs, I guess.
My canvas wants a tattoo on her back, but it is moly back there. I need to tattoo her somewhere else.
Who won the flash challenge, Jimmy?
Yes.
I guess he screwed you, huh?
If she's gonna stick to her guns, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Maybe I'll end up with a portrait of her mother on my leg.
Wow. What do you think?
I love it.
Oh my.
What do you think?
Wish I looked like that.
I need to prove that I can do other things. It's going to be a big feat in itself today if I can make it past this point as one of the new school kids.
So do you do much like realism portraits?
I would say almost absolutely not at all.
Somehow, I wiped his entire right eye off of my stencil.
Pattern is going away, especially in the areas where I don't need it to go away.
If you lose part of your stencil, 99.999% of the time you do not want to try to freehand something on a face.
Just do them one-eyed.
As if it wasn't bad enough, this guy's sitting there watching me up. I need to fix this.
You know, like over his shoulder watching?
We decide we're gonna tattoo her on her calf. She's not a big girl, and it's a lot of detail in this small spot. Every wrinkle, every strand of hair, every eyelash is going into this tattoo.
Can't believe the work that goes into this.
I have to at least try to take this home for my family. I can't keep being the bottom of the barrel.
You make sure you tell him if he's doing something wrong.
Kyle's looks like a ball of raisins kind of like smashed together. Is that horrible for me to say? He should be trying to soften her face and just show the main shapes of her face rather than every single wrinkle.
Today, you had to tattoo a subject intimidating for even the best tattoo artists. A portrait. Jason, you're up first. Was it nerve-wracking to have the subject of your portrait sitting in the room with you as you were?
It's a little threatening because they're standing right there. This is testing every one of my panic disorder buttons.
Overall, man, you did do some neat tricks to get some detail in there. The mustache and the beard, the detail is very nice. The mouth, you captured the little smirk. There's a couple of spots you lost me on accuracy. Just the shape of his hair, the way it goes onto his shoulder, it doesn't have the same shape. But accuracy in the glasses, that's the big fudge on this thing.
It looks like you kept trying to sculpt it, and then you ended up changing the shape of the glasses.
Tried to put white in there, and then I noticed that it was thickening up.
This was the tattoo that needed the most accuracy because there were so many different textures. If you can't nail each texture, then it shows up a lot. It just threw it off.
Kyle.
You accurately captured a lot of parts about this lady. If you look at the shading on their nose, it actually has dimension. You actually put the contour in there. But then you went in here and put too much time in every wrinkle. You accentuated the parts of the photo that you kind of don't want to accentuate. I don't know if I was the first one to say it, but I definitely wasn't the only one to say Leatherface when I looked at this tattoo. It's not a flattering look.
I had to show accuracy.
I think your accuracy is one of the stronger points on it. You nailed it, dude. It's a lot more accurate, not to pinpoint Jason, than his glasses. You had a tough one, but I think you did a great job on it, personally.
Jimmy.
Your weak point is you didn't go dark enough. In the hair, in the eyes, the beard goes to the jawline. You kind of created some highlights in there that made it look lighter.
One of my biggest fears was to make the tattoo so dark that it looked like a cover-up.
I mean, we see Dave all the time, and his hair's jet black. His eyes are super dark and smoky, and you took some liberties with your accuracy. Kind of takes away from what it could have really been.
That's what I first thought, because I was like, that's
Should have trusted it. You ended up doing way more work than you had to.
No better way to test accuracy than with portraits. We gotta send one of these guys home. Let's start off with Jimmy.
He has done smoother black and gray than his portrait. He just overthought it.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that Jimmy did on there that changed the look of it. Mainly that lower jaw.
He highlighted a lot of areas that are clearly dark in the photo.
Next up, we have Kyle.
Trying to replicate every little nook and cranny, it's a lot to put in there. She has areas where she is not as wrinkled in this photo, like the circles of her cheeks.
I know it doesn't aesthetically look pleasing, but it's more accurate than the one that Jimmy did of you.
Yeah.
And it's more accurate than the one that Jason did.
But out of Jimmy, Jason, and Kyle, Jason did the most aesthetically pleasing of the three.
There was mistakes. The whole shape of the glasses is off. The ear is darker than the whole face, and it's not in the photo.
Today, we tested your accuracy by asking you to tattoo a portrait that matches a photo, down to the last drop of ink. Jimmy, Jason, Kyle, the three of you were slightly off, and any one of you could justifiably be sent home. Kyle, you're here because the human canvas jury voted that you had the worst tattoo of the day.
I didn't really expect that. That's the people you're trying to please first, so that sucks.
This tattoo is way too little for all that texture. You don't have enough room to let the tattoo breathe, and that's what made it look so dark.
There's a lot of that that's gonna come out. Those creases, they weren't done with solid black at all.
Jason.
You didn't do a horrible tattoo, but when we line it up against everybody else's and look at the accuracy of all these things, the ear, the hair, the glasses, it's those details that are wrong.
I saw my shortcomings on that tattoo, and I know that this is not the best of me.
Jimmy.
Jimmy, you won black and gray day, but because this challenge was named portrait, it hindered your black and gray. There was a lot of inaccuracies in your portrait. You should have stuck with your gut.
The judges have decided. Jason, you do not have what it takes to be Ink Master. Please pack your machines and close shop. You have 6 hours to tattoo an X-Men color portrait, and your time starts now.
Okay, let's do this. When looking at a color portrait, you're looking for it to be an exact replica of the photo. Therefore, everything has to be precise. The eyes have to line up, the shading on the nose has to be just right. You have to capture every little essence of the face.
So I'm feeling really good about my tattoo. It's coming out exactly the way I want it to.
Very nice, very nice. It's looking really good. The nose, lips, eyes, cheekbones look exactly like the reference. I love it.
My canvas wanted to get the knives in, but I'm very concerned about time. I'm very upset that I can't get them in. If I don't finish this tattoo, I'm screwed.
Because Warpath always has knives, as soon as you take his knives out, it's no longer Warpath. It could just be anybody. This is a huge mistake.
I just hope it looks good. You think it doesn't look good?
I think it'll look cool.
Okay.
Today, we ask you to use technical precision to create an X-Men color portrait. Lydia, what happened here with the negative space underneath this gentleman?
He initially had the knives, but I didn't have enough time, so I just figured I'd put a big X down there.
What makes this character recognizably X-Men are those blades. Missing those, it's very difficult for me to know who this is.
The problems with just the structure of the portrait, the shape on one side of the nose, the crease you put in and the dark shadow, they don't line up. In the photo, his lips are straight. In your tattoo, they look crooked. That's a big mark to miss.
Roland.
When you're doing a portrait, you got to copy the structure of the face. She does not even have the same shape. The color fades are not there.
Color, as you know, is not my forte.
I don't find any redeeming qualities in this tattoo at all.
All right, today, technical precision, color portraits of X-Men characters. Let's talk about the bottom of the day. Lydia did Warpath.
This technical precision that she's lacking shows in just looking at the shape of the lips and looking at the shadow along the side of the face and the look of the hair.
It will take a lot of work to fix this face up.
And Roland.
This tattoo didn't keep the shape of the face. He didn't put the shadows on the tattoo in the same place the shadows in the portrait.
This is the antithesis of technical precision.
Today, you tattooed the best test of precision that there is, a color portrait. Roland, you're here because Scott put you up for elimination. Scott, why did you put Roland up for elimination?
I felt that his piece was one of the weakest. This one, that was it for him, in my opinion.
I will admit this is a very difficult tattoo that's been out of my repertoire, but I'm here to fight. I'm here to stay here.
Lydia, you're here because the human canvases determined that you had the worst tattoo of the day.
As far as my tattoo being worse than Roland, I don't agree with that. I believe I'm a better tattoo artist than him.
When the human canvas jury calls you down, that for you is a major nail in the coffin. That's your client base.
It was a tough tattoo to get through, and I overthought it.
Roland and Lydia, either one of you could be packing your machines. The judges have decided. Roland, you do not have what it takes to be Ink Master. Okay, artists, you have 6 hours to tattoo a portrait. Only 5 of you remain, and 4 of you will move on. And your time starts now.
Right.
Let's do it.
Get on it.
Just stand straight up and just relax. With portraits, precision's essential because this is where everything has to be dead on. Every single drop of ink that you apply to that portrait is going to be a reflection of the face in the picture, and it can't be off. If you change a feature on a face, you're out.
When I do a tattoo, I'm like, do this tattoo like you would be okay with walking around with it. My canvas originally wanted his wife's portrait on his arm, and I talked him into moving it on his thigh. This is much better placement, but this tattoo has a lot of things going against me right now. The hair could totally make or break this tattoo. I need to make sure the hair is flowing, but not super crazy. And on top of everything, it is so stressful having this woman watch me tattoo her face. This is a ton of pressure right now.
That's what stoked me out on it, man, is all the little crazy medals and stuff, you know what I mean? Give me a chance to get fancy.
I purposely picked this photo because you can't really see the face. My strategy is to make this jacket and this helmet look so on point that it's undeniably a good tattoo, and they can only pick apart the face so much because the face isn't even there.
Holy crap, that's sick. All the little detail on the medals, it's like, holy Christ.
Cruzman's tattoo turned out exactly like we thought it would. It's busted. His face looks like it's melting down his neck. It's not fixable. That portrait will never look right. Cruzman, pack your bags.
Today, you had to give canvases and their loved ones a way to stay together even when military service keeps them apart by tattooing a portrait. Cruzman, start with you. Speaking about precision specifically, there are really great examples of that in the uniform itself. I love what you did with the name tag and the little elements on the jacket, the fine details.
That's why I picked this one. There was the least amount of face to do, and I am not a portrait tattooer, so I figured that that was my only hope of holding on.
It looks like some of the shading in the face got away from you, especially that line in the nose.
The shading you put in the nose takes the nose in the wrong direction. His chin going into his neck, you needed to up the definition of that a little bit to show which one of these crease lines is his actual face and which one is the neck.
You see what you did inside the jacket with the tie and that reflection of the shirt? You were confident because it wasn't a face.
I totally was.
If you're not confident in a face, don't treat it like a face. Just treat it as shapes and go in with the same confidence that you go in the jacket area, because you can do it. There are examples of the precision that's necessary to hit those things.
Duffy.
One thing I will say about your portrait is you do have smooth, good areas of gray, but the really heavy cheeks that you gave her, those really weren't as pronounced in the photo. You changed their face completely by sagging her out. And because you didn't shade the two back teeth on the right, as dark as it is in the photo, you give her buck teeth.
The problem with your hair is where it meets the head. It looks like she's bald, and she's wearing a wig, and the wig is slipping off to the back. You put a real crease between her bridge of her nose up to her eyebrow. It totally re-contoured the lay of the land. You don't capture the spirit.
Today we're testing precision with portrait tattoos.
Cruzman definitely has a lot of problems in his tattoo. The dark shading he put in the face in the wrong spots.
Looks like something bad happened to him.
He's got a broken nose for sure.
The ridge of the nose is a right turn, and that's really taking this tattoo out.
Duffy's, I don't think it looks like this woman at all. If you look at her photo, she's an attractive woman, but the tattoo, it is scary.
Duffy really loses it because she gives this woman melting cheeks, incredibly pushed out teeth. She has some really nice shading in this. Her shading is nicer than Cruzman's, but unfortunately it's not right.
Today you had to tattoo the ultimate test of precision, a portrait. It's time to find out who the human canvas jury determined had the worst tattoo of the day.
Wow.
Duffy, you're here because the human canvas jury determined that you had the worst tattoo of the day.
That's the last thing I wanted to do, was disappoint you, especially under the circumstances.
Frank and Gladys, why did the jury vote Duffy to the bottom?
My wife looks a little different.
My face looks bigger than what it is. My teeth are a little bit closer together. And the hairline looks receded on one side. I just look different.
Every single mistake counted on this one.
I over-exaggerated some things I thought would be really good definition. I apologize.
All right, guys, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
It's all right, kiddo.
It's just not the tattoo you want to disappoint on for sure.
When I look at Cruzman's first glance, it looks like the photo, but when I pay attention to the face, it's up. One line of shading on your nose this tattoo.
Because you don't cap the ridge to create that hot spot on the bulb of the nose. Without that, you completely change the dynamic of the face.
If it at least just had one perimeter outline around this guy's facial shape, it would not look like he's wearing a wet paper bag for skin. A few little lines could have kept you out of the bottom.
Well, we have the last master and apprentice duo standing here before us. One can move on, and one has to go home, and we have to decide that.
If they're equal, flows for the master. He gave her the gift of tattooing, and when it's handed over properly, look where good tattooing ethics gets the apprentice to the end.
I'll say that the reason why Kruzman's is more appealing is not the portrait part of the tattoo, it's the uniform, the framework that lent itself to look more like that photo. But when you go down to face versus face, I think Duffy's face looks more human. The judges have decided. Duffy, you do not have what it takes to be Ink Master. Please pack your machines and close shop. Okay, artists, you will have 6 hours to tattoo matching portraits. Your time starts now.
All right.
Yes. Do it. When you go get a portrait, you don't want it to almost look like the person, almost don't count.
I think I should go a little bit smaller than this and a little bit bigger than that.
It's very important that they stay precise to the photo as well as to each other. This is tough. You don't know if your partner's gonna go off on a tangent and do something crazy.
Are you super ready? Let's do this, April.
Can you check what I'm doing to make sure that we're on the same page?
Yeah.
I am at Eva's mercy on this one. I'm definitely not the best portrait tattooer.
So this is the gap where it's like where this is.
Yeah, there's one lower and one higher.
So
and they kind of wrap around. Yep, you got it.
Like that.
Yeah, that looks right to me.
I know that she knows what she's doing, so I'm just gonna try to do the same. It's a trust game at this point.
What do you got for in this section? Is that a 1 and then this is a skin tone, or is that?
Most likely. I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm a little worried about Tom because it has been so long since he's done a portrait.
I'm gonna say that's a skin tone. Yeah, that's a skin tone. Or I'm sorry, that's a 1.
I just hope that he can rely on my strengths to help guide him through it because you can't wander on a portrait. You have to do exactly what's in front of you.
Today, you had to tattoo the ultimate test of precision, matching portraits, allegory arts.
You very clearly missed the mark on details in the photo. Y'all had the same approach for this nose, but that is not a human nose. It has a very feline look to it.
Euless, the tattoo doesn't look like this little girl. The eyes, they're just different shapes.
Well, Eva, I think you did get in there with a lot more precise detail in the hair. And overall, the technique and the shading is smoother, but you still distort the shape of her face. The shading you put above her left eye, you create these indentions and protrusions that just aren't there.
Nailed it.
The coffin, yeah.
Classic trilogy tattoo.
Let's keep it 100. Your tattoos, they're different, big time. The hair looks different, the eyes look different, the noses, the mouths.
Tom's eyes are doing different things. One's looking up, one's bugging out.
You create this real stern lip on that right eye that gives it more of a creature type feature on the outside. Swing and a miss.
Artistic skin design.
Usually you look at a portrait and you're drawn to the eyes. I'm drawn to the clothing. On both of them, that sweater and that shirt, I see precision all day, but it just looks like a different artist did the top half.
In both of them, the hair is completely different. Dane, you brought the left side down a little further, and April, you brought the right side up a little. They're not consistent or precise with the photo, and certainly not with each other. All right, guys, today we're testing precision. Who do you guys think are on the chopping block to go home? Neither of these tattoos look like each other, nor do they look like the child.
How do the eyes that occurred on Eva's face, how does that even occur? And then artistics, these things.
Wow. They must have wasted 4.5 hours on that little sweater and collar and about 1.5 hours on the face.
But I'd rather have classic in the bottom. I don't think either one of them captured a portrait-style tattoo or this face.
Today, you had to prove that your precision is on point. Based on your work, one shop will be packing their machines. All right, jury appears. Why did you vote Allegory Arts to the bottom?
This was the cutest, most adorable subject, and that's not what the tattoos look like.
Guys, there's a lot of things here that are off. The discrepancy in the eyes, the Y's in the nose, just a huge head shaker.
But they look closer to the same artist than Classic Trilogies does.
But I put a face that was more accurate to the photo.
Yeah, I think that you look at Classic Trilogies, neither one of them look like the photo, and neither one of them look like each other.
If they both looked exactly like yours, Derek, I would have no problem.
I definitely dropped the ball.
This application is just messy.
Just look at the hair and you're like, what is that?
But it is a woman, artistic skin design. If you're not looking at the kid, they look like little old men.
Both these tattoos have a very undone feel for me.
Normally when I do portraits, I build up layers, and there was no building up layers.
Well, I think you just panicked. It started getting red, and you're like, damn, I don't want to put no more ink. But sometimes you just got to trust your skill. If you would have tattooed the rest of the portrait at the level you tattooed the clothing, you wouldn't have been there, you know?
Well, we do have to make a decision here.
Too much of a mess. Classic Trilogy.
I'm just a canvas, and Allegory looks like a weird kid. My vote is for Allegory.
I'd rather wear Derek's tattoo than any of Allegory. But it's a competition, and it's not what I want. It's what the competition wants. So they did them exactly alike. They did them different. I guess I would have to say classic.
The judges have decided Classic Trilogy tattoo. You do not have what it takes to be master shop.
You guys tattoo a little different, and I think that's what got you here. Learn from this.
Hell yeah.
Please pack your machines and move out.
We're doing full size. These details are gonna be like as close as I can. It's gonna be like a pinup. Well, I was thinking about maybe like doing like a little flower in front of it. You know, so you have like a little illustration and then like you have her, so it makes sense, like the transition.
But that's like flower on my wrist. I don't give a shit about flowers at all.
Maybe I could put a ribbon under it.
But I don't know if I like the ribbon.
This canvas is giving me such a hard time. She doesn't want to work with me in any aspect of this.
Could you do like a stone?
I think that's gonna feel like morbid, like a tombstone.
I personally don't mind if it just ends.
I do. Like that's like the most unartistic way to end it is unflattering.
She has to meet me in the middle or I'm going home.
The flower is literally just an afterthought.
But I feel like it's tacky. And then tomorrow I'll be like, what the f did I do?
Artists, you have 6 hours to tattoo a traditional illustrative portrait, and your time begins now.
All right, dude, let's do it.
See if we can get this thing to work.
Step on over here, man.
This is Portrait Day with a twist. We're asking these artists to do renderings of photographs. So the photograph and the portrait that they create have to look alike, but they have full license to use heavy lines, heavy color, deep black shading.
I think we'll be able to pull it off. Let's do it.
They can do it as they see fit, as long as they capture the look of the picture.
I was afraid that I scared you away. I wasn't trying to be mean. I hope she doesn't think
No,
I'm actually really
I definitely
nice.
went back and I was like, I don't think this is gonna work.
Since I gotta go more illustrative, now I have to show a little bit more detail, and the face is too small to show all the details and make it look like this person.
I got a little nervous. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Well, we felt the same, but we feel the same now, so that's better.
That's it.
It has teeth in the tattoo, and I don't know how to approach this without making it look like it has veneers.
Ah, shit, Grandma's got a mustache.
Oh my God, I was like, are you kidding?
Tough crowd, tough crowd.
I am shook as
Jason.
There's aspects of this that you do capture at least the look of the subject, but I'm not a fan of the hair. The black stripe that you put in the hair for the shading makes it look like the hair's flattened and then he's got a big poofy back. The right side of the hair doesn't really look like hair. It looks like a shape tucked to the side. The left eye to me looks like he got punched, only that eye has this darkness to it.
But adding the lure and the border, it is traditional illustrative style.
I don't love this tattoo from you at all, but capturing the look, okay.
Pon.
As far as capturing the look of the person with a simple drawing, you don't do it. If you look at her right eye, the top of her eye is curved, and the tattoo, it's a straight line and then curved underneath. Just the little looks of what's going on, you lose it. The shape of the mouth is off, the width of the neck.
As dark as you went in the collarbone, as weird as the shoulders come out, I can be like, okay, it's stylized, gritty, it's whatever if you're looking to go that route of illustration, but what I can't not see
is the precision in the face. Your eyes don't line up. The nose has a crazy curve to it. The mouth is off center. That's all the places where you need to be precise.
Women's team, you're next. Laura.
It is a nice, well-applied tattoo, but it's hard for me to say that this really looks like this girl. The expression on the face, you're not really getting that little tight grin, and her neck looks really wild. The way you have the back of her shoulder and her neck going all the way up to the ear makes her neck enormous.
That sucks. The other thing that I really dislike, these black lines you put on her forehead that aren't connected, that are just random black lines there. I know that you're trying to show the suggestive loose hairs, but it's very strange play.
Today we're testing precision with traditional illustrative portraits.
Really assessing who did the best or the worst comes down to hitting the likeness of the subject upon displacement of the facial features. That's the problem. The eyes have to be on the same plane.
Creepy Jason, I don't know that that necessarily looks like the gentleman in the photo either. That mustache on the tattoo is literally a comb flipped upside down.
It's super plastic potato-y face. He really doesn't hit it.
Another artist that took some liberties in terms of shapes is Laura, surprisingly.
I just don't think it looks like the girl, really. The face looks different, the nose looks different, the mouth looks different.
Not working to her favor today.
Today you're being tested on precision, and based on your work, one of you will be packing your machines. Danny, why did the women's team vote Jason to the bottom?
Laura felt that she could defend herself better with Jason's.
I mean, I'm sorry, Jason. Mine is the stronger out of the two, basing off of inconsistencies in the shading in the face, color packing, and then also the streaky white highlights.
Yes, her application may be a little better than mine, but that's not to say that her tattoo is without its own flaws. The scratchy lines around the lips, that could have been solid. The little pieces of hair that start away from the hairline is an awkward choice.
The little wispies in the hair, I mean, you can't pull that off in a traditional way by doing these little soft wispies.
But you'd connect it to the hairline. There's big, thick black hairs growing out of the girl's forehead. When we look at these things that have to hit precision, you guys really got stumped. Jason, when you draw, you're at your best. And then when you have to work off something, we see where the chinks are in the armor. All the things in here that you do, which is what you do, like rope, background, allure, they have your style. They have a signature of you. What looks out of place is the figure. On your tattoo could have easily been that pinup style where you could have yesed your customer to death, but done it the way you do it.
I got shooken up and I just went back in with blacks, making everything darker.
The face not having the precision that we're looking for, and the fact that you have some rougher shading, it's not hitting the traditional, it's not hitting the precision.
I showed you guys in the past like what I've done. I know there's no report cards, but this is all bizarre to be down here. Like, I've never had any application problems or anything like that. Like, I've consistently did clean tattoos. I just had one hiccup of a day, and I know that's all it takes to send you home.
Ultimately, one thing is for sure, these canvases wanted a rendering that looked like the photo. So that's where I'm coming from. My decision is for pawn.
Pawn.
The judges have decided. Pawn. You do not have what it takes to be Ink Master.
Hey, man, I'm glad to have made it this far.
Please pack your machines and close shop.
Thank you, guys.